Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2C TV, your global news channel. I'm Maya 2C and this is your latest news update coming from the British Parliament and the House of Commons, as we are expecting a statement by the Labour government in order to save Keir Starmer's job as Prime Minister. A number of Labour MPs have now started a rebellion. That number is increasing. We're going to give you guys the latest updates. There will be a live statement from the House of Commons, which we're going to show you. And of course, get your reaction live as well. I'm just getting an update. Apparently, well, we were expecting Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, to make a speech, but she's now delayed. So that has now been delayed. So that's fun. Everything's going absolutely normal today for the Labour government in Britain. So first things first, a big shout out to my good friend Christian Calgi of Daily Express for breaking the news of a Labour civil war. Labour civil war as MPs publicly attack Shabana Mahmood's radical asylum reforms. So the civil war, that's happening right now in the Houses of Parliament because it's both the MPs and the members of the House of Lords. It refers to the desperation coming from the Prime Minister to have an element of radical policies to tackle illegal immigration. Now, it's not going too well because nobody trusts the Labour government. There is a chatter about the leadership challenge, which has been going on for a few days now. One name is Angela Rayner. Of course, she's not going to have any chance because she only just lost her job. But Keir Starmer's crisis continues. Angela Rayner is getting ready. There is no guarantee that Rayner will be successful, considering that she only just got sacked. But today's speech and statement on illegal immigration, we're going to give you guys the details, considering that Mahmood is now delayed. And we're going to find out when we're going to be getting the update. Yeah. Okay, I'm just getting the information about yeah, so this is now slightly delayed, the actual speech itself, but it doesn't matter. We're going to bring you guys the latest developments. So there is going to be a desperate attempt to save the Prime Minister's job. The policies that will be announced in the next few minutes will be extremely radical for the Labour government. Doesn't mean they believe in them, obviously, but it simply means that they are desperate. So, number one, refugee status will no longer be permanent in the United Kingdom, which means that asylum seekers and illegal immigrants will have to reapply every 2.5 years in order to stay in Britain. If their home country is judged as safe, they can be sent back. It's a similar system as to Denmark. Now, you will also have to wait much longer for British citizenship. The current status is 5 years protection, but they are now facing a 20-year wait in order to apply for settlement, which also be reviewed. Ukrainians will be deported back to Ukraine. This is a temporary scheme. Once the conflict is over with Russia, they will also be sent back home. No more automatic benefits. So the benefit system will be removed from the illegal immigrants and asylum seekers. So the legal duty to give housing and cash support to the illegal migrants will be scrapped. And also massive crackdown on illegal workers. AI age checks. So they're going to be using artificial intelligence to double check to see if you are a child, as you claim, under 18 or not, because a lot of the immigrants have been claiming to be children, but they're not actually. They're like 35 years old, claiming to be 17. This is the same technology that's been used in the European Union, which is, you know, they're using it on the illegal immigrants, but they can easily also use it on the rest of the population, because the EU have introduced new rules across Europe in order to use AI for surveillance, essentially, and to have direct access to all your data and to basically learn your behavior so that the governments could actually be able to identify behavior. But this is simply going to be, for now, used on the asylum seekers. There will be new safe and legal routes to be created with a capped scheme, allowing people to be sponsored, similar to the Ukrainian scheme that they had, the temporary migration one. And also there will be a legal crackdown. Now, courts will be told that the priority will be to protect the British public, not the asylum seekers going forward. So that includes the migrant hotels, battles, and everything else. There's also an announcement on the modern slavery laws. There isn't anything on Sharia and obviously forced marriages, but we'll wait for Shabana Mahmood to confirm that. In terms of the latest data, over 1 million immigrants are now claiming benefits in the United Kingdom, which is a massive rise, even compared to last year, which was about 1.14. Now it's about 1.24. And in regard to the annual increase in asylum claims until 2024, you can see the United Kingdom is now in a worse place in terms of the increase. Then you have Italy, then you have Greece. But Italy and Greece make sense because they are the frontier for the first place, the first destination for a lot of illegal immigrants. The UK is actually the last one, and you can see the increase. The only country that is actually on top of it right now is Germany, with mass deportations and cancelling the asylum cases. So the Germany right now is in negative instead of the actual positive increase. France is also going the right direction. Of course, France's policy is to repel the immigrants who are in France to get to the UK, which makes sense for the French, but of course it's damaging to the United Kingdom. In terms of the Labour civil war that Christian Calgi broke, that number is currently increasing. So, started over the last few minutes, over the last hour, as 9 Labour MPs who publicly led the rebellion, and then that number went on to 11. Now it's 15. By the way, it's not the total number, it's the public faces of the rebellion. I'm just going to double check to see if that number has increased or not. So 15 MPs from 16 now. Ian Byrne has now also joined, Sarah Owens, of course, the usual suspects, including John McDonnell, and Abdesam Mohammed as well from Sheffield Central. So now 16 Labour MPs are leading from each county and each region of the country, the other local MPs to now rebel against the Prime Minister. These are the Labour Party backbench MPs themselves. So of course Labour also have the front bench, also have the other side to deal with, the opposition. And so this is not going too well today so far. As I said, we're also waiting for the live statement from the House of Commons, from the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood, who is desperate to be seen as right-wing. Of course, she's not, but she's lying to everybody. Nigel Farage of Reform UK reacted, saying the Home Secretary sounds like a reform supporter. It's a shame that the Human Rights Act's ECHR and her own backbenchers mean that this will never happen. This is, of course, in response to the upcoming statement in the House of Commons. So, I mean, Nigel Farage is correct, because this way, Shabana Mahmood and Keir Starmer could be seen to the country as, we've heard you, we really want to fix this. Oh, but, we got the courts to deal with, we got our own backbenchers, MPs are blocking this. So this is going to be the excuse. But they can say, hey, the leadership of the government actually listened. Obviously, it's a lie, because they knew this was never going to work. Reaction from Suella Braverman, former Home Secretary. I don't care who stops the boats, and neither do the British people. I wish the Home Secretary well, but I've seen firsthand others talk tough on illegal immigration without actually wanting to get anything done. One problem the Home Secretary has is an out-of-touch Labour Party that will never accept her plans, throw in Blair's Human Rights Act and the ECHR, and these reforms will sadly amount to nothing. The only solution is scrapping both. It comes from the Tory MP Suella Braverman. Now, the political left in Britain are currently having a meltdown, because according to the left, Shabana Mahmood and Keir Starmer are basically Himmler and Hitler. I'm not even joking. I am not even exaggerating. This is the direct consensus right now in the country from the left. This guy is called Philip Proudfoot. Yeah, Proudfoot for some reason. He says, we have now reached a stage where the Labour government is taking direct policy inspiration from the National Socialist Germany. Of course, this is in reaction to the headline, Shabana Mahmoud will tomorrow announce that asylum seekers will have their valuable assets like jewellery seized and sold to pay for their accommodations costs. Now, I did double check, just in case, but Mr. Adolf had no policy that suggested that people in the 1930s who would seek asylum in Germany, who was no one, by the way, would have to sell their jewelry in order to stay in Germany. The National Socialists did not believe in that policy. I'm not really sure why Proudfoot believes that National Socialists in Germany did that. This is, while that's happening, this is why obviously this is not going to get anywhere, regardless of what Keir Starmer says, because he's desperate to keep his job. Meanwhile, there's also a massive scandal in the Home Office in general, because the civil servants in the Home Office are once again rebelling, and they don't want to do what the British public want to happen, which is protecting the borders. There is also a massive issue when it comes to the foreign nationals, criminals, and the Home Office have been covering things up. There is a whistleblower who's now approached Rupert Lowe. Rupert Lowe said, a Home Office whistleblower has come forward to me with serious concerns about foreign nationals taking and passing important tests for numerous other foreign nationals in exchange for money. A national crime network. I have written to the relevant ministers demanding action. Does this explain how so many foreign nationals are slipping through the claimed high standards that they are supposed to meet? Driving test fraud on an industrial scale, immigration fraud. An example hold one individual sitting in numerous driving and life in the UK tests on behalf of others. Again, fears of being called a racist getting in the way of fairness. So we have a bunch of foreigners who are taking tests on behalf of other foreigners, and they're making money. I mean, it's genius, but it's very criminal. But anything to make extra money. This is the letter that has now been sent by Rupert Lowe to the ministers. Dear ministers, the Home Office whistleblower has contacted me to report serious concerns about the potential criminal network facilitating fraudulent access to UK immigration entitlements and driving licenses. The allegations suggest that individuals with indefinite leave to remain are posing as test candidates and completing life in the UK and driving theory and practical tests on behalf of others in exchange for payment. The whistleblower states that inadequate identity verification by the DVSA has enabled the issuing of illegitimate driving licenses to individuals who have never taken the tests themselves. As you will be aware, over 1.3 million foreign drivers have received UK licenses without a domestic test since 2016. A situation already raising significant questions of safety and standards on our roads. One individual who is currently under investigation alongside numerous others attempted to sit the Life in the UK test on behalf of others on at least 7 occasions, with at least one verified instance of her doing so successfully. Upon gaining access to this individual's financial records and phone communications, the whistleblower discovered multiple examples of correspondence with others in which the individual discussed fraudulently sitting driving tests on behalf of others. The whistleblower suspects that this individual is linked to a wider organized crime network. Despite being a part of a team dedicated to disrupting organized criminal activity, the whistleblower was instructed to hand over his investigation to the DVSA due to an alleged lack of immigration nexus, even though the principal suspect is herself a migrant from Central Africa. This investigation has not been taken further due to an administrative issue at the DVSA. The common sense approach would have been to allow me to pursue it as part of my ongoing investigation, rather than have another agency, as part of a separate investigation, repeat the work I have already done. This is according to the whistleblower. Rupert Lowe says, all of this raises the following questions. Whose responsibility is it to determine whether driving licenses are being issued to individuals who have paid others to fraudulently take the tests for them? Whose responsibility is it to determine whether life in the UK tests are being sat and in some cases passed by individuals acting as paid imposters on behalf of others? To what extent is the Home Office aware of this criminal activity, and what is it doing to identify and prevent it? Will it commit to doing so? To what extent is the Department for Transport aware of this criminal activity, and what is it doing to identify and prevent it? Will it commit to doing so? In cases where it can be proven that an individual has been awarded a driving license or indefinite leave to remain fraudulently, will you commit to stripping it from them and prosecuting and deporting both them and the person who sat the test? I look forward to a speedy response on all of these important points and would be very happy to meet with you or your civil servants to discuss the next steps. Yours sincerely, Rupert Lowe, MP. Yes, that's how you do Parliament. Rupert Lowe once again proves that he is one of the few, a handful of people who actually knows how to be a member of Parliament and how to take advantage of the powers in the House of Commons, rather than just make social media videos or just get some publicity for 10 minutes or some memes. He does everything at the same time because he is a good both a local MP and also a national member of Parliament, holding the government to account. Now, we now have the confirmation that this desperate statement in the House of Commons to save Keir Starmer's job has now been delayed. So there clearly is a problem right now in Downing Street and in the Home Office, as the crisis of saving Keir Starmer is escalating. This was supposed to be happening about 17 minutes ago, but has now been delayed. We will, of course, wait for the statement and the crisis statement, and of course we'll show you guys the live footage right here on 2CTV. Before we do that, let's get some reaction. We have Ivan saying, funny how she is deporting the Christians. Deporting everyone, yeah, especially the Ukrainians apparently. If they delay or block applications after 2 years, we will need to set up ICE. This is a stalling tactic to continue the problem. They know it's never going to pass. That's the thing. So it's just a desperate attempt to be seen to be doing something. Starmer is poo, says PC. Brilliant. Keir Starmer is the effing lying communist little... Yep. And the Home Office needs to be reformed as it's corrupt like the government. Yes, I mean, one big issue is there are two problems. One of them is slightly easier to fix. So the system, you have the House of Commons, and that's the government, basically. The MPs will form governments. That, at least people have some control over that by voting. The rest of the system, you don't have any control over that. So the only way you could do that is to have better MPs in the House to push for this, which is the civil service and the agencies. So, of course, in this situation, you got the Home Office, you got the Transport Department, and you also have the DVSA in charge of the driving license tests and the actual licenses. People don't have direct control over those things. The problem here is that the whole system needs reform, not necessarily department by department, because you can't really, I've said it multiple times, any British government, doesn't matter who your Prime Minister is or who your party is in charge, don't have power to replace people in the civil service. So even if you sack someone as a permanent secretary or even cabinet secretary in civil service, what happens is civil servants are in charge of hiring the next civil servant. So they're just going to find someone that's like them again. You need to completely, essentially, rewrite the structure of how the constitution works to be able to completely reform the system and give power to ministers in order to be able to get rid of political civil servants. Now, you don't want to give too much power to government either, because you might be happy that your party is in charge and they're going to get rid of the bad civil servants, left-wing civil servants. But if you give too much power to government, the next left-wing government will be able to use that against you and actually bring in completely communist civil servants. So you kind of need the balance in order to be able to have a process to identify political civil servants. Doesn't matter if you're left-wing or right-wing, you need to get out. Even if you're right-wing, you need to get out. And in order to be able to get rid of them, and then the ministers should be able to have a committee so they could have oversight on. That committee should be able to hire the new civil servants to replace them, not civil service. You can't just have them replacing the old one. Insanity. Anyway, you think this sort of thing should be common sense, but apparently not. Maybe most of the Labour are Fabians, I don't know, but they probably have that intent. Well, it used to be, but well, obviously the Fabian side and more Social Democrats, most of the Labour MPs these days are now left-wing, proper left-wing, not Fabian left-wing. They're completely left-wing, so to the left of Fabians, basically, like Keir Starmer was, and now he's pretending to be a centrist Fabian nonsense. But actually, most of them are, especially the backbenchers, are to the left of the Fabian Society. Obviously, Fabian Society, which has been obviously going on for a very long time, one of the major influences in the Labour Party, the whole point of the group was a few decades ago to soften the term socialist and socialism. So they sell them, it's the same in the US, they sell themselves as democratic socialists, right? But so that they don't scare you. So, oh, this person is a communist or whatever. They say, oh, we're just democratic socialists. But in reality, it's the same thing. But most of them actually are no longer even democratic socialists. A lot of them are proper far left. And the influence of the Fabian Society has already done its job anyway. Normalizing people like Shabana Mahmood, normalizing people like Keir Starmer, people like Angela Rayner, for you to think that they're not really that left-wing, but they are. They are very left-wing. In power, they can't say it because obviously they'll be voted out. So they are trying to be seen as not left-wing by announcing these radical policies. But they know that their friends in the backbenches of the Labour Party in Parliament and their friends in civil service, they will block these policies. So that it's a win-win for them. Now, also this issue of the 20-year wait in order to even apply for settlement in the UK, it's just going to make things even more complicated. All you have to do is just make sure that you only have people, a very limited number of people in the country who deserve to be here, who go through a legal process and who are integrated. So you can review people's behavior to make sure that they are integrated. But if you have a bunch of people who don't want to integrate and their values are not compatible and they've also gone through an illegal route, and you say, okay, now you can stay, but you have to wait 20 years until you can actually apply for a permanent residency. Well, that's just a problematic situation, because it doesn't matter if they have permanent residency or British citizenship, they are still in the UK. So, and in fact, you're making it harder. It's a lose-lose, because from a perspective of liberals, well, they are not permanent residents, so they don't have full rights, so they're going to probably end up becoming criminals anyway. So that's not really good. And from a perspective of normal people say, well, why are they even here? Why do they have to wait 20 years when they are foreign criminals? They shouldn't even be here in the first place. There are many people who've been waiting in the queue to contribute to the system, to be able to actually come into the country, to actually bring in investment and actually create jobs. They can't do it. But these guys can do whatever they want. Anton says, we need the military to take control of this country. So this is the other issue. So all these things have been tried. Revolutions and coups and, or as I said, for example, if you give too much power to either MPs or military, is that you might think right now, the person that you see, they're the face of, the rebellious party or the military. You think, well, they're on my side, right? You don't know if that person will actually be on your side. And two, if that person dies, the next person, what are you going to do? Because it's too late now. You've given them total control. It's literally called totalitarianism. So if you say, well, the military will take control because we don't like Keir Starmer, right? What are you going to do when the military use that power against you? Do you really think somehow the people in the military right now will all be on your side? Doesn't work that way. Everybody tried that before. Napoleon tried that. His supporters, basically, his friends. And it always backfires. If you think that you might be happy, next time you won't be. Because there are those who did that in Iran in 1979. Said, well, we just want to get rid of the Shah and parliamentary democracy. We will work together. Let's give power to a bunch of militants. Well, they took control and they killed all the others, including the communists. They all got killed by the Islamists. And then one group, and even the Islamic Revolution, the Islamic side, they had different branches, different groups. One group killed the others as well. And they promised everyone, we're doing it on your behalf because the government is corrupt. We are going to take back control for the people. They always say that. It's always for the people. And then obviously everybody dies. Now, but the problem here right now in the UK is that we've got political tribalism. So while you have the differences with political parties who are not left-wing, who are against Labour, you're not going to get anywhere because a lot of people think that it's their job to prop up parties. The roles have reversed. In a normal country, in a normal democracy, throughout centuries, well, a couple of centuries at least, it's the job of political parties to create a good product for you. And then when the election comes, they're presented to you, say, would you like to support us? And people say, okay. Now it's the other way around. Now parties and politicians expect you, normal people, to prop them up. They expect you to promote them. They expect you to do their job, to go around to tell your friends, support my party. Oh no, support my party, not that party. While they're just sitting there. It's the job of the parties to sort out their own product first, and they can go to the public, including you and your friends, to sell it. It's not the job of the people to prop up these parties before they're even ready for their manifestos. But right now we have this problem, and a lot of people think that parties are the solutions in this country, right? So you've got the Tories going around saying, well, no, we need to promote the Tory party. You've got Reform UK saying, blind faith, just support Reform UK. There's no other option. Or Advance UK said, like, well, no, we have to tell everyone to back Advance. UKIP says, wait for the parties. It's their job to do it, not yours. And that's why I'm not going to be partisan in that sense. Being independent is much easier. It's too early. You just have to wait to see what happens as we get closer to the election. Barbara says, what if Muslims are really running the British government and the PM is just a figurehead to maintain the fantasy that the Muslims are just immigrants? No, they're not in charge, at least yet, because the demographic is still changing, but it hasn't fully changed. The problem in Britain is that globalist socialists are in charge, and they've been in charge for a long time now. Backed up by, of course, the corporations, certain corporations, not all corporations, obviously. And that is the biggest problem that we have. So then they will also be in trouble eventually when the demographic changes continue to escalate over the next few years and few decades. Anyway. Happy Warrior says, even Mohammed, who's Mohammed? Mohammed said cousin marriage produces weak and sickly children, but they still do it as they are freaks. Mohammed? No, he didn't say that. He said the opposite. If you're talking about that, Mohammed. And what else do we have? Murder of Clan says, you are sitting on the fence, Susie. No, my position hasn't changed. That I'm not pro any political party in the UK. So I used to be in politics, obviously, but obviously my job is different right now. We're a news channel. We're not a political channel in that sense, and I'm not getting back into politics. I used to be a Tory, for those who remember. You remember those days? Oh, good times, 7 years ago. And but yeah, no, I'm not going to get back into politics. Not doing that. Rather die in a ditch than do that. And those who sit on the fence, they're also a problem, by the way. Those who are simply just waiting, these are the people who one day they say, no, we should do this, and the next day they're like, actually no, we should do this. I'm like, don't listen to anybody. Do not listen to anybody trying to promote their own propaganda, because well, obviously everybody will have their own agenda. Nothing wrong with agenda, but everybody have their own things to promote. But it's not your job to promote political parties. It's the job of the political parties to promote their parties. You are the customer, not the actual merchant. So yeah, be aware of those who are sitting on the fence, and be aware of those who are pushing their own agenda without being part of the actual team. So yeah, and I'm not getting back into politics. Not doing that. It's a terrible idea. Because obviously I don't believe that party politics is not the solution. So Nick says, Maya, your army now is nearly a 1.25 million. We are awaiting orders. I am not doing, don't expect me to be a political leader. I'm very happy being a news channel. That's all. Yeah. And Alien Dragon says, sorry to see, I can't sit here with idiots shouting stupidity. I'm out. I will watch it later without the crowd. You know, there's a button you can press to not look at the live chat. You don't have to look at the live chat. it's not mandatory. But yeah. And so can't say I blame you. Yeah, look, it's just stupid. People don't understand. The thing is, people don't understand the system. It's fascinating that people, the same people who say, the system is corrupted, that parliament is not working, the voting system is rigged, this, that. And then tomorrow they say, oh, we found a new solution, a different party with a different color. Oh, let's just back this party, this political leader. Well, we found Kemi. Oh, no, we got Nigel. Oh, we got Ben, we got Nick. Yesterday you were saying the system is corrupt, the system is broken, and it doesn't matter who is in charge. But now you're excited because you have your guy or your girl, right? You can't do both. It doesn't work that way. You can't say, well, the system doesn't work anyway, it doesn't matter who we have, and then get excited that, well, now we found the perfect person. This person is going to work it out inside the system. It's not. That's not how it works. Like the tribalism is absolutely fascinating. That people have blind faith for all these parties and party leaders. Anyway, it's just cult mentality. Yeah. And my job is just to obviously just hold them all to account. I don't really care. If they do the right things, I always praise them. If they do stupid things, I call them out. That's why I get attacked from all of them, by all of them, the Tories and Reform and this and that. If you did the right thing, I'll give you praise. And Sensible Driver says, I often wonder if this government can get any worse when you see the likes of Rayner and Powell waiting in the wings to take 2 tiers job. Is a really scary time in the UK. That is a fascinating part, because any alternative right now to Keir Starmer is just going to be a nice, lovely, peaceful clown show. Literally. All of them. Even West Streeting. And West Streeting has talent. West Streeting has potential in the future. From a perspective of the left, obviously. Centre left. But not normal people. But even it's not going to work. It's bad. Bad idea. Anyway, so this statement from the House of Commons has now been officially delayed till 5:30 p.m. UK time. So this was supposed to be at 2:30 p.m., which was half an hour ago. It is currently 3 p.m. UK time, right? That has now been delayed. 3 hours. Something has gone wrong in Downing Street and in the Home Office. So there's currently clearly an emergency, last-minute changes to the statement from Shabana Mahmood. Obviously, guess what? We're going to come back with the live coverage from the House of Commons to show you the clown show that is a Parliament. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys in about 2.5 hours. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.